right. So, this is one of those moments. Nobody likes failure and disaster and, things going up in smoke. But it is one of those moments that you learn from. And if you don't learn from it, as I see a lot of people already are not learning from it, then, you've wasted the pain. The pain is going to be there anyway. You might as well use the pain to get to a higher level. This was a disaster. To lose Alabama is a disaster. And I think we have now got to form a mob and go out with torches and find somebody to blame and punish for this disaster, because that's what everybody's going to be doing. But we also have to look at, when Donald Trump won, everybody else was saying like, oh, this just proves that everything I was saying, even though I got everything wrong, it just proves that everything I was saying was true. And I say, wait a minute. I was wrong. I thought he was going to lose. After a year, I think he's done a really good job. He's an annoying son of a gun, but I think he's done a really good job. And this part of what my speech was about is like why I think that Donald Trump is a much better president than I gave him credit for or gave him credit for being. You got to change your mind. It doesn't kill you. It really does not kill you to change your mind. Everybody's so afraid that they'll say that they'll seem weak because they said, oh, I was wrong. Now I had to change my mind. But that's actually where your strength comes from. You always should be changing your mind as new facts come in. So first of all, my take on Roy Moore was I hated him. I had nothing to do with the stuff about the girls. Like I said, 30 years. I have no way of judging what's credible, what happened. I wasn't there. I'll talk about that more in the mailbag of how I feel about sexual scandals and things. I'll try to be very specific about why I feel the way I feel. But I feel the guy is a clown and a hypocrite and a posturer and a bigot. He's also a bigot. I mean, you wave your Bible around and you talk about, oh, people shouldn't be committing sodomy. The only sodomy I'd like to stop is the sodomy of the federal government on me. It's like the only thing I want out of my backside are the feds. I don't care who this guy thinks shouldn't be sleeping with somebody else. And that gave the sexual scandal some resonance, right? Because you looked at it and you thought, oh, you're condemning other people, but then you're chasing these girls around the desk. It doesn't really go. But the problem for me is that the people who were out there opposing Roy Moore and trying to bring him down, even with the sexual scandal, trying to gin up the passions against him, were some of the truly worst people. And you want to see how happy Hollywood was last night? What's her name? Alyssa Milano? Was that Alyssa Milano's reaction as she's watching the results come in Alabama?
We needed this so bad. This is me in my pajamas watching it come in with Allah, my best friend.
You should have been at the party.
Allah, her best friend?
We did it.
It's a big party here.
The country needed this. Thank you, Alabama. Thank you so much, Alabama.
Oh my God, we gotta see more. I want to see more. I want to see the more people. They're so excited.
Alabama. The people of Alabama made this happen. They said, we do not want this man representing this state, this bad man, Roy Moore. We do not want him represent. And the women of color, they got out there and they voted and they made this happen.
It's like, boy, Alabama, Alyssa Milano loves you. This is a wonderful moment. What's so hypocritical about this, and my whole point about this is she's sitting around with it. They stopped this bad man. She don't care about this bad man. You think the people who are out there campaigning against him were trying to protect the females of Washington, D.C. from the evil predations of Roy Moore? That's not what's happening. They want the damn vote. And now, it's a question of when Moore will be seated. It will be sometime later this month or early in the new year. But now they've got to get that tax bill through. They've got and the Democrats. I love the Democrats. You got to love the hilarious hypocrisy of the Democrats. The Democrats are now making speeches. It would be wrong of you to just go ahead and pass this tax reform, as if we didn't remember Obamacare and Scott Brown coming in at the last minute. It would be wrong of you to pass this health care bill. And the only thing that's a little bit spooky is the idea that the Republicans might listen to him. I don't think they will. I really don't think they will. But this is, it's absurd. So that's what this is about. Oh, and also we got to show you Wolf Blitzer because I mean, if you think Hollywood was happy, what about the news industry? This is the news industry, the objective CNN that just calls an apple. See, here's Wolf Blitzer just rocketing out of his shoes as he announces the victory.
And CNN projects Doug Jones, the Democrat. He will be the next United States Senator from Alabama. He beats Roy Moore in this really, really exciting contest. Doug Jones comes from behind, takes the lead, and now CNN projects he will be the next senator. First time in 25 years that a Democrat will be elected senator from the state of Alabama, a ruby red state, a very Republican state. But Doug Jones is the winner. CNN projects that he is the winner in this race. This is a huge moment, a huge win for the Democrats, a huge setback for the president of the United States. They're getting excited over there at Doug Jones headquarters. Let's go over to Doug Jones headquarters. Alex Marquardt, you're there. They just got the news. We made the projection. Doug Jones has been elected the United States Senator from Alabama.
Who was it, Wolf? I didn't catch the name. I thought the 17th or 18th time you said it, I started to think it might be Doug Jones. Was it Doug Jones? I mean, they are so, and this is why, because they played you. They played the voters of Alabama. They got them ginned up, and you know, it's all on Moore. I'm not going to say that it's their fault. This is what they do. They're Democrats trying to get Democrats elected. CNN are Democrats, NBC, Democrats, CBS, ABC. These are Democrats trying to get Democrats elected, and they do it by diverting you from the moral questions of politics and conflating them with personal moral questions so that you can feel it, so that you will get emotional about it, and you'll say, I can't do it. What happened to Doug Jones is people didn't show up. People showed up for city people, and black people showed up for Doug Jones. They didn't show up for Roy Moore. And the fact was, it was so close that if all the people who had written in another candidate voted for Moore, Moore would have won, which also indicates, I mean, he didn't lose because of the write-in votes, but it indicates those people writing in were probably people who would have voted for Moore, but couldn't do it because of the scandals and all this. And by the way, again, I don't like Moore. I just feel people got played because we needed the vote. I would have said, vote him in, then get rid of him. You know, vote him in, then hound him out, vote him out. This a 2-year term until the next election, because there's a special election to fill the Attorney General's seat, Jeff Sessions' seat. So it's a special election. He won't be there long, but it's long enough to really wrong foot what's left of the Trump agenda, especially if they don't get that tax bill through. Trump, my opinion, my personal opinion, Trump comes out of this smelling like a rose. Trump did exactly what I think I would have done. He tried to stop it. He said he went after Luther Strange. He supported Luther Strange, who would have won this thing by a landslide. I mean, he would. What is it, like 66, 70% of Alabama's Republican? They lost Alabama. You know, I mean, it's insane. So he did the right thing when he realized that he needed that vote. He went out and he supported Roy Moore. He never said what a great guy he is. He just said, we need that vote. He kept saying it again and again. We need this vote. Vote for Roy Moore because I need the vote, with the Democrats not doing anything. And now, and if you go back, he said, he tweeted, do we have Trump's tweet? Yeah, the reason I originally endorsed Luther Strange, and his numbers went up mightily when I did, is that I said Roy Moore will not be able to win the general election. I was right. Roy worked hard, but the deck was stacked against him. And here he is. Here, do we have the cut of Trump making the prediction that this was going to happen?
Luther will definitely win. No? You know what I'm saying. Roy has a very good chance of not winning in the general election. It's all about the general. Don't forget, we don't stop here.
So you know, this does tell us something. Both parties right now are incredibly unpopular. The parties are incredibly unpopular. But I believe they are unpopular for different reasons. And this is just my belief because I don't think this shows up in the polls. I believe that Democrats are unpopular because of their policies. If you watch Obama's numbers, they're still very high. People like him. They like him personally. They like Democrats personally more than they like Republicans. I think Republicans are unpopular because of the kinds of people they are, because they're loud, like Trump, they're brash, they say things that polite people are not supposed to say. And I think that this just shows that the people will go so far in either direction. They will go to a certain extent with your policies, even though they don't like them if they like you, and they'll go a certain extent with not liking you if they like your policies, but they won't go beyond a certain point. Roy Moore is you know, his spokesman was on. Some of this stuff is so comical. So his spokesman was on Jake Tapper, and the guy, I don't know what to say about. He was like out of a little Abner cartoon, okay? And I don't mean to make fun of the people of Alabama. I think, you know, obviously there are plenty of great people in Alabama, but also plenty of simple people who are great in Alabama. But this is the guy's spokesman. He is there to speak for the candidate. So first Tapper asks him whether Roy Moore thinks that homosexuality should be illegal. And the guy, instead of answering the right answer, which is ask more, don't ask me, you know, I'm just a spokesman, says probably, you know, and then Tapper goes after him with a journalist instinct. I'm not blaming Tapper for this. He goes, journalist instinct goes for the throat, says, what's the punishment supposed to be for homosexuality? So that we can, you know, we can have this picture in our minds of Roy Moore going around pushing gay people off buildings. And then there's this exchange, which, for those of you who can't see it, I will try and describe it. In fact, I'll leave my mic on and I'll just try and describe it. But for those of you who can, watch this.
Judge Moore has also said that he doesn't think a Muslim member of Congress should be allowed to be in Congress. Why? Under what provision of the Constitution?
Because you have to swear on the Bible. When you are before, I had to do it. I'm an elected official, 3 terms. I had to swear on the Bible. You have to swear on a Bible to be an elected official in the United States of America. He alleges that a Muslim cannot do that ethically, swearing on the Bible.
You don't actually have to swear on a Christian Bible. You can swear on anything, really. I don't know if you knew that. You can swear on a Jewish Bible.
Oh, no, I
swore
on the Bible. I've done it 3 times.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you've picked a Bible, but the law is not that you have to swear on a Christian Bible. That is not the law.
And he just
You don't know that?
He just stares at him with
I don't know. I know that Donald Trump did it when we made him president.
Because he's Christian and he picked it. That's what he wanted to. That's what he wanted to swear in on. Ted Crockett with the Moore campaign. Good luck tonight. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my Lord, that look on his face is just, I mean, it's priceless. It's priceless. Now, you know, how do you sell a candidate like that? All right. Let's get down. I think Trump comes out of this smelling fine. He's fine. They'll obviously go after him for, oh, you endorsed a pedophile and all this stuff. Trump can take care of himself. Trump has a certain genius for taking care of himself, and if I have time, I'll get to that. But I do think there is some real blame to go around here, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. So this thing starts out as a war, basically, between, as Steve Bannon would say, I'm using his language, a war between Steve Bannon of Breitbart.com and Mitch McConnell, the Senate leader. Let's go back and look at the two sides. Let's look at Bannon basically declaring war on Mitch McConnell, who he sees as the head of the Republican establishment that he despises so much.
We have to prove the theory of the case down in Alabama. This is a test of wills. And we're going to determine down there who is more powerful, the money of the corporatist or the muscle of the people. You know why all those folks are back there, the world's media, you know why they're down here taking these photos? Yeah, this is not about me. It's not about Seb Gorka. It's not about Laura Ingraham. It's not about Tony Perkins. It's not about Mark Meadows. It's not about our beloved Commander-in-Chief, Donald J. Trump. They're here because of you. They fear you. And they fear you because they understand you've had a belly full of it and you're taking your country back.
Now, you know, Bannon supported, what was the name of the other candidate? Brooks, I think it was, yeah, which was a good thing. And then when that didn't work out, he could have gone over to the establishment candidate, but he hates McConnell so much. So let's hear McConnell's side of the story here. This is the way he sees it. Let's listen to Mitch McConnell talking a while back at a press conference.
My goal as the leader of the Republican Party in the Senate is to keep us in the majority. The way you do that is not complicated. You have to nominate people who can actually win, because winners make policy and losers go home.
Very simple philosophy. That is the way that politicians think. You know, there's a lot of people now blaming Mitch McConnell for this. Oh, if he had only supported Roy Moore. Oh, if the people had only turned out, it's their fault. They didn't turn out for Roy Moore. You know, I said people should turn out for Roy Moore, and then we'll get rid of him later because we can keep the vote. That's the kind of cynical, strategic thing to do. They didn't do that. Let's just listen to one more Representative Republican Bradley Byrne blaming McConnell. So you get this line.
I think Mitch McConnell has as much about this, the outcome of this race, as any other single person in America. Mitch McConnell should have stayed out of this race, and if he would have, we'd have a Republican U.S. senator coming up there, not a Democrat.
And this is kind of the line that Bannon and his crew are selling, and it's garbage. It is garbage, because you cannot expect people to go against their conscience. My conscience looks at the broader political landscape, because I don't care what Roy Moore did 30 years ago, and looks at the broader political landscape and says we need the vote. It's worth getting this kind of creepy guy in Congress, in the Senate for now, to get the vote. That's my conscience. But other people's conscience look another way. Plus, Mitch McConnell is making political calculations as a political expert, a man who is one of the 100 people in America who is a senator. So you know he's playing in the major leagues. He is making political calculations about what's good for his party, what's good for the body of the Senate that he loves. Listen, I'm not part of the Mitch McConnell fan club. I think I think sometimes he's weak. Sometimes he tries too hard to be too strategic. Sometimes he doesn't do what I want him to do. It's not the question of that. It speaks entirely to competence. You've never heard me running down Bannon for his philosophy. Parts of his philosophy I like, some parts of it I don't like. I've never talked about him personally because he's always been perfectly pleasant to me. But this speaks to competence. If you are, when you go around talking about war, and this is a war against the establishment, you got to know what you're doing. It's not war. It's not war. It's politics. And in politics, your candidate has to convince people to vote for him. It's not their job. It is not the voter's job to get out there and vote for Roy Moore, who sends out a clown who thinks that you have to swear on a Christian Bible to get to serve in this country, which is against the Constitution. A religious test is against the Constitution, so he doesn't even know what he's talking about. It's not up to the people to say, oh, well, he is a kind of a clown and a hypocrite and an idiot, but I'm going to go out and vote for him anyway. They have consciences too. They have the right to follow their conscience. You've got to put up a candidate who can win their vote. When did somebody not explain that to Steve? When did somebody not explain that to Bannon? This just speaks directly to competence. It speaks directly to competence. And the thing is, the idea that Bannon got Trump elected is wrong. Trump, this is the thing I disagree. Here's the thing that I disagree with Ben about, that if Trump had been in this race, Trump would have won. Trump is a genius of communication. I don't care what anybody says. It's not a question of whether he's playing 3D chess. Like I said, it's more a question of whether he's a great running back. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how he's going to communicate, and he knows how to get people to see him in a certain way. It is an expertise that he has, and he's had it all his life. He has been dealing with people and negotiating with people and making himself a star all his life. If you had put Bannon in this situation, this is not a numbers thing. If you'd put Trump in this situation, Trump would have taken this. Roy Moore is no Donald Trump. It is not the same thing. You have to know what you are doing when you're taking on the establishment, and Bannon shows that he didn't. If Bannon is for real, Bannon now goes home and says, I blew this. Doesn't say Roy Moore, doesn't say Mitch McConnell, doesn't go on the Hannity show and parade around saying, oh, this is the establishment, this is war, and we'll come back. And another. He goes home, looks in the mirror, and says, you know what? I don't have the skills to do what I want to do. How do I get them? Where do I start? Who do I talk to? Who do I converse with? Donald Trump should be looking at Bannon right now. Look, this is not about affection. It's not about personality. It's not about politics. It's not about philosophy. It is simply about competence. It is simply about doing what politicians do to win. And I think that when you are following the people who supported the guy who lost Alabama for the Republicans, right? You got to get that through your head. He lost Alabama. There is strong questions of competence. They have to be asked. They have to be faced. Bannon's going to have to do it personally. And if he doesn't do it, Trump's got to do it for him by basically undercutting him at this point. Trump has got to go his own way and have some kind of sense of confidence in his own political instincts, because they're much better. They are much better. He would not have lost this race, and he did. He was right all along, every step of the way. All right. But don't despair. You know, it's only politics. All right, let's go.